As seen on Kaleidoscope the Series. Kaleidoscope the Series on ABC 23. It's a different look at our region, unique places you may not know exist, unique people sharing their amazing talents. There are good things happening in our area. Watch it all every Sunday on Kaleidoscope the Series on ABC 23. Welcome back. Have you ever taken a hike in one of our national forests and then suddenly heard the sound of chainsaws? At first, this might not seem like a good way to preserve our wildlife, but in fact, it is. The Western Pennsylvania Conservancy's restoration project is working hard to bring back habitats in our streams by giving nature a helping hand.
Maybe I'll throw it on me. You want to sling this on? Our forests are relatively young and also pretty thick. Historically, we had very large trees that would fall periodically. They would fall across streams, they would fall in the floodplains, they would hold water back, and all of our native fish, macroinvertebrates, and animals evolved to that here over thousands of years. About 2 centuries ago, we started industrial logging of all of Pennsylvania, clear cutting, and trees that would normally be along our streams and naturally falling in have gone and helped to build America, which we needed, but it's left our streams bereft of habitat in many places. It's a very historic opinion of streams is that they need to be clean and straight. If we can see a nice, beautiful channel, it might be very aesthetic to some folks, but when you look at it through the eyes of a trout or a bug that might need a velocity break in high water, that's a desert that doesn't have any food, it doesn't have any cover, and it's not a great place to live. When you start putting in a lot of trees, it helps replenish those natural densities. Pools naturally dig themselves out. They deposit gravels at the edge of the pools for spawning. It's just a great spot for a fish to be. You can get in under a log where a bird can't get you. If you're a small fish, even in the fine branches, you can tuck into those fine branches and a larger fish can't eat you. There used to be anywhere from 70 to over 380 trees, large trees, per mile per stream. We should naturally be chock full of wood, and we're not anymore. So the work that we do here helps to encourage early successional openings that mimic natural tree fall. That's good for deer browse, it's good for grouse. A whole bunch of stuff likes little thickets to be in and to move through. Most people think of flooding as a pretty bad thing. Up here in the headwaters in the Allegheny National Forest, flooding when there's no infrastructure around is a really good thing. Headwater streams are typically naturally function as sponges. The water comes, and when it's high, it disperses over the floodplains. We call them a floodplain for a reason. And even wood like the stuff behind me, when the water gets high, it gets trapped behind that stuff on the floodplain. And say, this tree might hold back 1,000 gallons during a flood. Well, if you start thinking about 70 trees per mile and 300 trees per mile, how many thousands of gallons of flood prevention are you helping downstream? And then it soaks into the groundwater table nice and slow. Sometimes we even get ice deposits, and those slowly melt, go into the groundwater table, and that's summer fish habitat, that cool, clean water.
We try and select trees that aren't going to get hung up on other trees. We need to be able to get them down safely. We try to avoid taking them from the stream bank so that the root mass of the trees are still there on the bank to hold the stream in place. We try and choose stands where the trees have higher stocking densities, and they can actually benefit from thinning out select trees, because when you thin out a stand, it provides more nutrients and resources to the neighboring trees that remain in that area, so they'll actually grow healthier and faster. A lot of times we're not just putting one piece of wood at a particular location. A lot of times we're interweaving tops and 3 or 4 key pieces, those pieces that are twice bankful width, into that one structure so that they're stable and held in place. They'll trap some of that debris and organics and create better pool habitat and also food for macroinvertebrates. Macroinvertebrates are aquatic insects. They spend most of their life in the stream channel, and then they hatch into flies such as stoneflies, mayflies, and caddisflies. Those are the primary ones that we want because those are ideal food for trout.
We've been monitoring some sites for past 5 or 6 years. In areas that we've gone and done this, we've seen 2 to 3 times the number and size of pools versus the untreated sections. So when you're a trout that needs some place to go deep and cool in summer when it's hot, that's a great thing if there's 2 to 3 times more habitat out there. The volunteers we have are outstanding. We're out here in 25-degree weather today, and I've got 8 dedicated volunteers that are with us. As long as you can kind of walk along a stream, you know, we can use you for something. There's been days where it's 5 o'clock on a 90-degree day in the summer and we're working, and they're still here making sure that a project gets done and gets done well.
Been volunteering since I retired. Just like playing in the water and the streams, and it's kind of nice to know that we're hopefully improving stuff downstream for years to come. It's just enjoyable and fun. You work with nice people.
I've always been interested in wildlife, trout fishing. I do a lot of trout fishing, so I'm helping these streams, which hold wild brook trout. I have a granddaughter. Hopefully she's going to fly fish with me in some of these streams and see those beautiful brook trout. We just have to take care of Earth. You know, it's the only one we have.
I was in a class and we went on a field trip and got to see Luke working on another project, and I thought it was great and I wanted to get some outside field experience, so I called him up and I asked if there was anything I could come tag along on and learn from. So here I am. This is my second time coming out with them and I think it's fantastic. It achieves a whole lot of multiple outcomes using really simple tools instead of having to come in and do a whole lot of stuff where we've designed stuff and we brought in big heavy machinery. You can get a huge amount done and you're basically using nature to do it. So it's really light on the landscape and restoring it to what it used to be. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to learn about. I didn't know that the state had been that severely clear cut. I didn't know until I went back to school that the Allegheny National Forest specifically is a result of the clear cutting and the state attempting to salvage what other people had thought was a wasteland, essentially. And now it's this beautiful place that we cherish and we treat with reverence, and it wouldn't have happened if somebody hadn't stepped in and decided to try and restore it. So, and that's still what we're doing right now, is we're trying to restore it back to the condition that it was before the humans came in and did what we did on the landscape.